What's up, folks? Welcome to a new video. I've just spotted this on social media. Lucy Harris, the former Brexit Party MEP for Yorkshire, she's put out a resignation letter explaining why she left and why she's now back in the Conservatives. So I thought I'd go through it. It says, "Today I am sad to leave many good Brexit Party people behind and resign the Brexit Party whip. Many of them are worthy candidates and incredibly accomplished people. Their PPCs have shown that some of the best of British through their instinct for perseverance and initiative, which will be needed in the future. I can't say I've had a furious internal battle over not being able to help more and to support their bravery in standing as candidates. But this election is like any other, a turning point in history, and with anti-Semitic Marxists at our doorsteps, quite literally, we have to channel our bravery in a very different direction." Now, I sort of see where Lucy's coming from with this opening statement, definitely, because there's only one reason I'm going to vote Tory this time around, and that's to not let Jeremy Corbyn get in, to not let the anti-Semitic Marxists get in, because I wanted to vote Tory. I watched the Tory party conference with quite some what's the word, enthusiasm. For the first time in history, I watched the Tory party conference with some enthusiasm, because they'd just installed Boris as leader and they looked like they were going to take a bit of a lurch to the left spending wise, which, being a Labour voter all my life and living in the Midlands, that's exactly what I wanted. But then he came back with that deal and my hopes just sort of dropped, because I've got a lot of Northern Irish Unionist friends and this puts a border down the Irish Sea, so I struggled. But on the flip side of that, it's Jeremy fucking Corbyn, for fuck's sake. Well, Jeremy Corbyn threatening to hold a rigged second referendum between Remain and a fake Leave option is shitty deal. That keeps us permanently trapped under the control of all of the EU's institutions. We have to be realistic about the options in front of us. And under the UK's first past the post electoral system, it is clear that there is only one way to guarantee that Jeremy Corbyn cannot reverse Brexit and unleash his Marxist nightmare on the country, and that is by voting for a Conservative majority government to keep him out. And she's right, I think, sort of. She wouldn't have been if Boris would have played ball, because Nigel stepped down in 317 constituencies. Boris could have stepped down in a handful of seats, because the Tories aren't going to win them seats. The Brexit Party had a better chance, but just didn't want to do a pact. He was confident that he'd get a majority anyway. I think that's the only reason why he did it. Otherwise, you probably would have seen that alliance, or you'd have just seen them not campaign at all in some seats. They might have done a few of them anyway, but they'd have done it even more if that had happened. Now, I know this is not conventional, but I want the UK public to take a moment, take a step back and glance at the past 2 decades of how our social and cultural narrative has changed. Yeah, that's a big call out for some people, because they are tired of the extreme social liberalism that we've had in the past 20 years. It all started under Blair with political correctness in the early 2000s, probably late 90s really. We'd gone from, and it was a big shock to a lot of us, because we went through the 90s rebel phase where didn't really have anything to rebel against, but that was just a sign of the times at the time. So yeah, I can see where she's coming from with that. It's basically, are you sick of neoliberalism, is what she's asking there. And if you are, although you may like to vote Brexit Party, the only chance to maybe get rid of that is vote Tory. But I don't see how it's going to change under the Tory. This is the most liberal Tory leader of all time. He's not going to push it back socially. He's not socially conservative, Boris isn't. So I think she might have tripped up a little bit on that one. Anyway, whether it's the closing down of free speech, overbearing political correctness, culminating of oppressive safe space and no platform culture, the disrespect of tradition, our values and the family, or even the negative politicisation of the love of our home, everything we hold dear, everything we are. Labour have been intent on pushing this change. Labour of the root of this. Labour embody this negative attitude. This is now reflected more strongly than ever in the current leadership under Jeremy Corbyn. And yeah, I'd say that's right. There has been a massive push away from family life in the last 20 years since since the church lost a lot of power in this country, it's slowly declined anyway, but over the last 20 years it's got exponentially more towards individualism, the Labour way. You're free to do whatever you want, you're free to be anything you want, you're free to self-ID as a fucking fidget spinner if you want, you know, just ridiculousness. I think that's what she's talking about there. This election we're at a crossroads. Vote for Corbyn's Labour and they will have free rein to impose this regressive way of life on us instead of the common sense, respect, fair play and goodwill that is the foundation of British society. Vote for Corbyn's Labour and they will have free rein to violate our democracy with a sham renegotiation and a rigged referendum that will lead to Brexit being cancelled altogether. This may be the last time in a very long time that ordinary people can change the destiny of their communities and their homes for the better. Really? Because we've had 10 years of Tory and nothing's changed. So you can see why some of us still want to vote Brexit Party, Lucy, unfortunately. People may be really behind Boris, and I'm really behind Boris, or I was until that deal, but I don't think the way that we're going is going to change. I think it's going to carry on. If anything, the Tories at the moment aren't strong enough to stop it. They go along with a lot of it for the quiet life, like most of us have. They're going along with it for the quiet life. However, I did not get involved in politics to stand against something, but for something. Call me naive, call me a dreamer, but I believe in the ordinary person. Give ordinary people the opportunity to speak and we will tell you the obvious truths which have been in front of your nose all along, just like we did with the Brexit vote 3 years ago. For me, Brexit was never about one person versus one institution, but the lightning, I think she put it, that spark of self-determination shown by ordinary people in the 2016 referendum, and I will not let that flicker of hope die out. I stand for a country where mould breaking, risk taking and standing up for yourself is rewarded, where individual rights are at the core of government policy, where we do not doubt ourselves, where we give people a chance whether in debate or in opportunity, where we don't write people off for having the wrong ideas, where we are brave enough to find out where free and open debate and conversation may take us. Which, yes, I'm 100% behind Lucy, but what's this got to do with you leaving the Brexit Party and telling people to vote Tories? How is any of this going to change because of what you've done today? For us, if I vote Tory tomorrow, next week in the general election, how is any of that going to change? I don't think it is. I'm just going to get Brexit with Boris's deal. That's the only reason I'm voting Tory, or to keep Jeremy Corbyn out of power. None of this is going to change. Because what is so exciting about a free world, you never know where it may take you, but on an exploration into a future without limits. And Brexit showed that ordinary people have the balls to go there. Which I agree with, but you've got things like Theresa May's porn ban that's now been cancelled. Things aren't going to be massively different under the Conservatives. The Conservatives no longer conserve. That's the problem that a lot of people have, especially old Labour people like me that are just with blue Labour or working class Tory, whichever ones you want to call it. Weatherspoon's nationalist or a council estate Tory, like a lot of people call us. We are to the left economically, but we are we are socially and culturally conservative. She goes on to finish up. Now, I have met many people on my 3-year journey into politics up and down the country, all brave and independently minded individuals, and I ask for those who have been on my journey with me and followed my progress, who have given me the privilege of their attention, to allow me the honour of their trust once again and encourage them to vote for the only party that can actually deliver Brexit, to rescue that flicker of hope, to save our home from the darkness of Marxism, to get Brexit done and unleash Britain into the future. On December 12th, please vote for Boris and vote Conservative. Merry Christmas. I'm underawed by this. I like Lucy Harris. I think she's been quite a good Brexiteer for the whole Brexiteer movement, to be honest with you. She's a smart enough woman. She got elected as an MEP. She's not a daft twat. But I don't see how any of this is going to help. She's basically telling Brexiteers vote Tory because they're the less dirty turd. They're the shinier turd, and I've voted that way nearly my entire life. I voted Labour nearly my entire life because I was voting for the less shiny turd in my eyes, and I finally broke that way of voting, that rut. I've got out of that rut, so I don't see why I should, and I don't want to be put into that same rut of just voting for the opposite party because Jeremy Corbyn's absolutely shit. But he's that shit that I may just bloody have to. But I don't see how this helps at all. I don't see how the 4 Brexit Party MEPs leaving today. If they was going to do it, they should have done it near the start of the campaign, like when Nigel first pulled out of the 300 odd constituencies. Otherwise, you just look like you're sabotaging the Brexit Party here. They look like that they, especially when you've got Annunziata Rees-Mogg in there. She's quite clearly a Tory. She's Jacob Rees-Mogg's sister. Was this always meant to happen? And the Tories seen what were going to happen. Like obviously they all joined the Brexit Party to oust May, the Tories side of it anyway, and it worked, and they needed a way back. I guess this is it. Anyway, that's it from me today, folks. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell for notifications. Take care, folks.